And check out TheRCWR Show with Lee Sanders. Get fun, in-depth coverage and analysis from the latest in professional wrestling in AEW, WWE, NWA, Impact Wrestling, or the world of entertainment. From hit TV shows to your favorite sports like the NBA or NFL. All things music, movies, and beyond, while trying to make sense of this crazy world we live in. All while keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive since 2011. And now your host, live from the nation's capital of Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Don't think this is a encore presentation, because it is not a encore presentation. I was reading the comments that was coming in all throughout the day about this WWE ESPN deal, and I know there was a lot of confusion. Look, you guys are not alone. A lot of what was being put out there, I definitely looked at it as a little bit confusing, a little bit alarming as well. And it's just interesting how, as the hours progressed, even after we were off the air, everything just kept changing. And now that we're pretty much going into almost 8 o'clock in the evening on the East Coast here in the United States, we now have a more clearer picture of what's going on. Do you guys that's been with me for a long time, you've been checking out the shows, do you now understand why I refuse to jump on any type of news as soon as it's breaking? It's one thing if a major celebrity had passed, like with what just happened with Terry Bollea, Hulk Hogan. That's one thing. But when we have something that is ever evolving, like this press release that was put out by TKO about this WWE ESPN deal, do you now know why I always reserve and I wait a couple of days until the very next show to get into it? Because it's always evolving. There's always new little nuances that's being thrown into the mix. I know that may disappoint some folks. Some folks, they may love it because it's like, whoa, and they want to hear reactions in real time and all of that. And so a lot of what we had put out there earlier this late morning, I didn't even delete it. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to let that ride. But let that serve as a testament why I don't like getting on top of stuff. As I've gotten older, especially with the industry that I'm trying to work in, I've already got my degree in media production, and then this fall, I'm going to be transferring to a four-year university for my bachelor's in journalism. Yeah, now more than ever, you really got to make sure that as far as that information that you're putting out there, that everything is on point, and you definitely have your ass covered when it's a ever evolving situation. Now, to my credit and to a lot of other people's credit, not for nothing, because I see there's a lot of snickering and all that that's happening in the background. And oh well, this is what happens when you spread misinformation. Well, make no mistake about it. We all were going off of directly from the horse's mouth, which was TKO. TKO put out the press release. And look, I know a thing or two. I know most podcasters, most shows, they're not going to talk about this. But normally, when you're in good graces with a company like WWE or TNA Wrestling, AEW, and they want to get some information out there that they want you to re-syndicate, basically. They want you to, rechannel it out there for your respected audience for consumption and all that. They'll hit you up with these little email packet junkets giving you all the information. And then all you basically have to do at that point is copy, paste onto your website. So, for instance, when I used to work a lot with the WOW Women of Wrestling promotion, they would send me little packets of upcoming shows. If there was some type of a special tournament that was going on and everything, they would hook me up with all the information, and they would expect me to put the information out there, whether it be on social media or back when I was working with 401 Mania. They would expect me to put all that stuff out there. So this is no different with what TAKO had initially put out there earlier this morning, and a lot of websites that have a lot of reach, especially on social media, the Fightfuls, the Wrestle Ops, the Cultaholics. I mean, you name them. They were putting that information out there. So it wasn't a case where somebody went rogue and they decided they wanted to, turn this into a different narrative, right? To basically do some type of a smear campaign on the WWE or whatever. No, that wasn't the case whatsoever. So I read a lot of you all's comments on some of the videos that we had already put out, because we put out a 3-minute YouTube short that also went up on TikTok. We also did a hour-long video reacting to the news, and again, that was earlier this morning. But now we have a more definitive, clearer picture of what is going on with this WWE ESPN deal. So let's go ahead. Let's talk about it. All right, let's talk about it. So here is where things stand right now, definitively crystal clear. WWE and ESPN, they've brokered their deal. So ESPN has the exclusive WWE rights to all future PLEs, to all future pay-per-views. That's going to be going down in 2026. So when it comes to WrestleMania 2026, that bad boy is going to be on ESPN, right? So all future PLEs under ESPN for a 6-year deal that's estimated to be worth $1.6 billion. So if you're keeping track at home and you remember when the NBC Peacock deal had went down back in 2021, that was for $1 billion, and that was for 5 years. And not for nothing, but that was pretty good for the most part. I don't know about a lot of you guys, but I know for me personally, I just watched NBC's Peacock. I just watched Peacock to watch the WWE PLEs. Even when NXT was doing something, I was watching that. Maybe once in a blue moon, I would watch a movie, but that was very, very sparingly. Somebody in the comments, I think it might have been Spawn Media. Shout out to Spawn, because I couldn't remember from the previous stream what that series was that I was watching. I mentioned it on the video earlier today. Best Man. There was a Best Man revival, little limited series that I remember watching. I thought it was pretty good. I watched it with the with the lady, and because when I was growing up, I was a fan of that. So it was nice to see those guys all get back together and everything. But beyond that, I'm not doing anything with Peacock. I'm just checking out the WWE shows. I know for a lot of you guys, that's the case as well. And then, not to mention, not for nothing, but most people probably got Peacock for free, because if you were like me about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, you upgraded your phone, you were able to get Peacock for free, as well as a couple of other joints just for upgrading your phone, trading it in, whatever was going on, whatever special promotion that they had going on at the time and everything. So they're getting slightly a little bit more money with this ESPN deal. That's not too shabby, right? Now, some of you guys may be wondering, so what exactly does this mean for the library, for the WWE library? What does this mean for ESPN? Now, we didn't talk about this earlier, but we do have some new information about this, which, by the way, shout out to the boys over at WrestleNomics for Tuesday's NXT on August 5th on the CW. The episode did 740,000 viewers. which is pretty good, which is actually pretty good. NXT ranked number 6 for the night in the 18 to 49 demographic across broadcast and cable. So compared to last week, it's actually up 10%. Last week saw the viewership at around 675,000. So not too shabby of what they're doing. But the way it's looking right now, there apparently is WWE. It looks like they're going to be shopping around the WWE library and NXT. It looks like they're going to be shopping that around, trying to see if they can get some takers. So that apparently is what's going on with that. Matter of fact, I want to try to see if I can find the article I was looking at earlier in regards to that. And if you guys want to maybe do a little research and you want to maybe try to look for that too, you can definitely do that, help a brother out. But um, mainly home in on the ESPN WWE deal for a moment. Also, there's this price tag. This is what was really confusing the hell out of us, which was it's going to cost $30. We're like, whoa, so wait a minute. So you're now asking fans that were initially paying their six, seven, eight, $10 or whatever. Now we're talking about three times the amount that fans are now going to have to pay. And as I had said earlier, wow, you look at what's happening in the United States, because this is really who's going to be impacted the most is the North American audience. And how dare we have individuals that were snickering over the fact of some fans saying, oh, well, we're just going to go the VPN route because honestly, it's just starting to become a big headache. Let me tell you something. Some of my friends in the podcasting world who I've known for a long time, they've been doing the whole VPN route because they honestly think it's stupid to be having four, five, six, seven different apps so they can try to watch one promotion. If you tell somebody, yo, you can watch NXT, you can watch SmackDown, you can watch Raw, you can watch all the PLEs, you can watch everything pretty much through this outlet, or hey, at least when it comes to the PLEs, you're only going to have to go to this outside source, but everything else is going to be available via Netflix, and all you essentially need is a VPN. Most people are probably going to be like, well, tell me a little bit more. As long as I won't get in trouble, I'll definitely be okay. Yeah, okay. Give me the skinny on that. Let me know what's the deal. Okay. So there's nothing silly, there's nothing funny about fans that are thinking, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and take that route. Not for nothing, but over the years, there's already been a decent amount of fans that have said, you know what, the VPN route, that's the route that I kind of feel like taking right now. Just try to save myself a little bit more money and everything. So this $30 price tag, that's what was the main selling point for a lot of us earlier. And again, we were just going off of the press release that TKO had put out there. And obviously, over time, because it was a full day for WWE, WWE was making their rounds all throughout ESPN during the day, going into the evening. A lot of interviews left and right. Definitely Nick Khan, Triple H. They had to do a little bit of damage control, clean up what was being put out there and everything. And what we thought at the time was, wow, it's going to be $30 a month. Well, now we know, and shout out to Mike Johnson of PW Insider, who's not really getting enough credit here. He actually reached out to ESPN for clarity, and I definitely want to read that to you guys right now. As far as the details on what cable satellite platforms will gain you free access to WWE ESPN PLE broadcast starting in 2026, here is what Mike Johnson and PW Insider were told by ESPN for clarification earlier this afternoon. And I quote, fans can subscribe to ESPN's direct to consumer product for $29.99 per month and get all the PLEs. Or if fans have ESPN through the following, they also have access to the PLEs. And here's the following: Hulu Live, DirecTV, Charter, Fubo TV, and Verizon Fios. Now, here's something very important right here. You notice there's one glaring omission right here, which is, well, what the hell is going on with YouTube TV? I know a lot of you guys are pushing YouTube TV. PW Insider is also told that YouTube TV is not one of the platforms that will allow access currently. Currently, need to stress that. That could change. That could change. But currently, YouTube TV is not one of the platforms that's going to be allowing access. So, of course, this could change in the very near future. This could change by the time the new ESPN thing goes into effect, the new WWE ESPN partnership goes into effect, but just kind of have that going in the back of your head. But the main ones that you want to home in on right now, if you have ESPN through Hulu Live, DirecTV, Charter, Fubo TV, or Verizon Fios, then you pretty much have access to those PLEs. Okay. So this could be a little bit nerve wracking depending on, how you want to look at this, right? Because I know, and as I had mentioned earlier, in my almost 10 years that I was working in marketing, market research, I organized focus groups, analytics, collecting data, all that stuff. I know that there were a lot of households that were cutting the cord because they felt that cable satellite was becoming too expensive. And we're only mainly talking about what's happening here in North America. I mean, to my folks that's pretty much out there in Ireland or India, because I know earlier we had a listener from India say, well, what does this mean for me? I'm in India. What does this mean? Business as usual for you guys. You guys aren't going to notice a damn thing. It's business as usual. This is really impacting North American audiences. That's what this deal is affecting, if it's even going to affect North American audiences at all. But I know in the market research that I did over the years, because a lot of studies that I would do, I would talk to respondents about how they're consuming their media. And a lot of people would that I would interview, they would tell me, "Nah, I've cut the cord." And as far as the top two reasons why, it was always a case where the number one reason, they couldn't afford it. They simply could not afford it. And then if it was a case where they could no longer afford it, then the second answer I would normally hear is, well, I ended up trying out one of the streaming platforms, such as Hulu or such as, and it has all I need. So I cut the cord. So, to the point that was made earlier, we had a listener that had mentioned the fact that cable satellite, it's not dying. No, no, it has been dying for quite some time. There's a reason why you see a lot of those cable satellite providers that's now trying to throw that extra incentive of, hey, if you sign up with us and you commit to us for 2 years, 3 years, we'll give you a $200 gift card, or we'll give you a $300 gift card. But what they don't tell you, that sounds really good, doesn't it? But what they don't tell you is you have to make consecutive on time payments for the first 3 to 5, maybe even 6 months before you get that prepaid card. That's what a lot of them don't tell you. You don't know that until after you read the fine print. That's usually how they get your ass, right? Because think about it. You probably, if you're going to get a better deal elsewhere, okay? And it's a case where you don't have to worry about some bullshit gift card. But then you got these other people telling you, well, if you join us, we'll give you a $300, $400 gift card. And you're like, well, shit, side B. But wait. You're not gonna get that gift card for about 3 to 6 months. You're probably gonna go back to the other people that, hey, look, this is what it is. This is where it is. This is the better deal. You're probably gonna go over there instead, right? Most likely, that's probably what you're gonna do. Shout out to Mike Johnson and PW Insider for jumping on that. Looks like they were able to get that information just a couple of hours ago. It looks like they were able to establish that information at the time that we're doing this right now. Looks like they were able to establish that about 2, maybe almost 3 hours ago, earlier this evening. So that's actually pretty good. Okay, so some other stuff that we could talk about in regards to this ESPN WWE deal and everything. And also, you know what? Shout out to the guys over at Awful Announcing. Awful Announcing, along with PW Insider, they did a lot of cleaning up in regards to the information that was initially put out there. As if you have ESPN pending, right? Because we already know YouTube TV is not part of that. You're soon going to have access to the pay per views at no extra charge. So now the question becomes, will this entice you? Will this get you to watch more WWE? It's kind of interesting here, right? I was looking at some of the comments earlier on social media. Shout out to Politically Homeless, who says, so $30 for the streaming service or pay $60 for YouTube TV that I don't have. And again, we just told you guys about YouTube TV. Daniel Remmer, I have ESPN on cable TV and I have ESPN Plus. So what does that mean for me? Robert, now if this is true, if you have cable or satellite and you don't have to pay $30 for PLE, then it's not as bad as I thought, and I'll watch, but not paying that. Tommy, that's awesome. Generico, I have ESPN channels through YouTube TV. Are the PLEs going to be one of those channels? And we just touched upon that. Roberto, I have ESPN through DirecTV, so I don't have to pay anything. So as you can see, there's still people that can't quite, and rightfully so. Whereas people like Right Said Dead, cool, I'm good then. I have Dish Network and ESPN, right? So as you are hearing this, there's definitely a decent amount of people that have their YouTube TV, and they're kind of going, oh, so I guess I'm kind of left out here in the cold, hung. I'm not really gonna be able to watch this. Yeah, at least for the time being, you're kind of screwed and everything. But this is a blockbuster deal that WWE and ESPN have brokered. I want to read some of the YouTube comments that we had got from earlier, because there was one comment particularly I popped real hard hearing. It was something in regards to Mickey Mouse and all that. Somebody said something along the lines of, so I guess pretty soon we're going to start seeing Mickey Mouse and Daffy Duck do little crossovers in the WWE and all that. I got to see if I can pull that up, man, because that was like the funniest thing. Shout out to Jay. Jay is the one that said it. Jay said that it looks like by next year we might get Disney characters showing up to help advertise the WWE premium live events. Mickey, WWE, crying, laughing emoji. Yeah, I can definitely see that. Or you get Donald Duck coming through there, rolling up his sleeves, and he's just ready to fight CM Punk or Randy Orton. How funny it is. You don't know what would that be to see Randy Orton give a RKO to the mouse. Some of the comments from earlier again, and this was just reacting to what initially was put out there. And I get it, it wasn't good. Chris saying it's a ripoff, as I'm considering WWE being on Peacock TV made a lot more sense. It was less expensive, but TKO and WWE is too blind by their own greed. And it's really sad that comments like this, and rightfully so, this ties into WWE slash TKO's PR team and the original press release that they put out there. How nobody had caught, yo, if we go with this and there's this $30 price tag, this is going to alienate a lot of fans. This is definitely going to confuse a lot of fans. I don't see how anybody, I don't see whoever was putting all that together, how that was missed. It's a huge miss, though. Spawn, another big reason to sell those friendly seas, shiver me timbers. Basically, his whole deal was maybe another reason why one should look into VPN and all that other stuff. Kelton, what I thought internationally, everything was on Netflix. Kelton, for the most part, is remembering that, right? Mark, stupid. Mark says, stupid, $29.99 a month, more a month. I will keep Peacock because now the NFL streams some games on Peacock. I have no use for ESPN except for WWE. I hate it. Again, comments from earlier, hours ago. But he touched upon a really good point, which is for a decent amount of people, they already aren't messing around with ESPN. They haven't been messing around with ESPN for many years. So to now be in this position where, wait a minute, so if I want to continue to consume my WWE content, I now have to make sure that I meet two criterias, which we just talked about at the top, right? And then you got some people that's going, man, this is just too much of a hustle for me. I think I might just dip out. Like, what the hell? Uh Nick, average folks getting squeezed again. This is a suspect move by WWE. So you can kind of understand with that initial press release that came out, what's going on here. Even right now, within the last 25 minutes, from Rich, wow, that Netflix deal didn't last long. Well, the Netflix deal is still in effect. I want to make sure that we stress that the Netflix deal for Monday Night Raw and any future WWE Netflix documentaries and all that. That partnership is still ongoing. That is still locked in for a handful of more years. This deal is exclusively about the PLEs for WWE. So, Rich and everybody else, please know that this is not about Monday Night Raw, and no, this deal is separate from what WWE currently has going on with Netflix for Monday nights. Okay, so for those of you that's kind of thinking what he's thinking, get that out your head right now. I think that might have been a case where this guy might have just seen the thumbnail that we had up and he just reacted to the thumbnail. I know a lot of people seem to. That's a bad practice, too, by the way. I don't know why some of you guys do that. I really don't. But it seems like a lot of people just read the thumbnail and then they assume and then they comment. That's not really a cool way to operate. Very busy day for ESPN, too, by the way, because if you're an NFL fan, boy, they made some serious moves. ESPN is to acquire the NFL network and other media assets from the NFL. And apparently, and this is a statement from Commissioner Roger Goodell about this situation, where he says, and I quote, since its launch in 2003, NFL Network has provided millions of fans unprecedented access to the sport they love. Whether it was debuting Thursday Night Football, televising the combine, or telling incredible football stories through original shows and breaking news, NFL Network has delivered. The network's sale to ESPN will build on this remarkable legacy, providing more NFL football for more fans in new and innovative ways. So, some key highlights in regards to this deal, okay? The nitty gritty. The ESPN NFL deal combines America's most popular sporting league and the world's most innovative sports media leader. ESPN will own and operate NFL Network, providing fans enhanced access to 24/7 coverage of the sport they love. The NFL will continue to own and produce NFL Red Zone and distribute it digitally through NFL Plus. ESPN will now distribute NFL Red Zone on traditional television. So that is, if you've ever been a fan of the NFL Red Zone, that is okay. Now that's cool. That's great news. NFL Fantasy Football will merge with ESPN Fantasy Football, creating a best in class product for fans everywhere. So nothing but win-win situation here that you got going on. Also, some more details on ESPN NFL reaching a landmark agreement. There apparently is going to be no more Monday Night Football double headers. Thank God, because I can't speak for you guys, but I know for me, going through one game, what time would that be? I think the first game used to come on at about 5 or maybe 6 o'clock at night, and then we get the second game, and that second game wasn't done until damn near close to midnight, and heaven forbid there was a little bit of OT. Then you're definitely looking at midnight. Oof, those nights were rough, and I only remember that because I recall couple of semesters ago when football was still in effect. I remember staying up for some games and going, shit, I got class tomorrow morning, like wrap this shit up. So yeah, the fact that there's going to be no more Monday Night Football doubleheaders, that's good. Also, the ESPN NFL Network gets standalone windows for 28 combined games. Did you catch that? ESPN NFL Network gets standalone windows for 28 combined games. So that's pretty good. 4 NFL games ready to hit the open market. So it's a pretty damn good day for ESPN all the way around here. Now, for the reports, it's estimating that the stake for this it could be between 2.5 billion and $3 billion in regards to ESPN acquiring the NFL Network, NFL Fantasy, and the Red Zone in exchange for a 10% equity stake that the NFL will now take in ESPN. So that's again is being estimated to be about 2.5 billion to $3 billion. Okay. So for ESPN, the NFL investment represents a rising tide that should lift all the boats. All right. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. We'll see what happens uh over time in regards to that. Now, as of now, only NFL Network is slotted to be on the new ESPN direct to consumer platform, not the Red Zone channel. I want to make sure that we stress that. More NFL content could eventually be licensed and appear on the ESPN direct to consumer platform down the road, although specifics have not been announced. So if you're trying to figure out, okay, so do I own the NFL Red Zone? Like how exactly, especially when you're trying to figure out who exactly owns Red Zone, that's where things get a little bit complicated. Like technically the NFL, they still own and operate the NFL Red Zone, but now that ESPN owns the rights to the linear business and the Red Zone brand, which opens doors to ESPN and all of that. Um, you see where I'm kind of getting at there? Like it's definitely officially ESPN that's essentially now the new head honcho. So for now, as far as the Sunday ticket subscribers who have NFL Red Zone as part of their package, they're going to be, at least for the time being, unaffected by this deal, as will linear subscribers of the Red Zone channel. For linear purposes, Red Zone will effectively become a channel under the Disney umbrella that will now have part of their portfolio in negotiating carriage deals. The NFL will continue to operate the Red Zone channel and hold on to its digital rights. So, kind of a big day here. What's going on here? Shaping up pretty good. I got to say. So if you're an NFL fan, this is fantastic to hear. And I think it was myself and a couple other people a handful of years ago that said, "How long do you think it's going to be before ESPN finally lands the Super Bowl?" And I think way back when I made a bold prediction where I said, I think by or right before 2030 is when ESPN is going to start getting the Super Bowl for a couple of consecutive years. And I truly believe in my heart of hearts, we are getting closer and closer and closer to that. I remember saying even a couple of years back when it came to WWE and who they eventually could partner up with. I remember floating around the idea of ESPN, Amazon, Netflix. And this was probably about maybe 10 years ago. And a lot of people thought I was smoking crack. A lot of people thought I was crazy. They did not see that. And once everything had went down, I would say with not even the WWE network, but I did kind of start flirting with the idea that, you know what, if they're willing to do this, and they can prove that their IP can be financially successful, then you know what? Companies like Amazon, companies like may roll the dice and take a chance on WWE. Getting back to the talk of WWE. And then I definitely doubled down when WWE struck that deal with Peacock. Because, I mean, let's be honest. Nobody gave a damn about Peacock. Majority of people did not give a damn about Peacock until WWE came running along, and it was a really good partnership because you had a nice trickle down effect for the most part because of WWE fans. So once that deal with NBC Universal Peacock went down, I was more confident than ever that a deal with Netflix or Amazon or maybe something with ESPN. And not for nothing, we've seen for a handful of years now WWE and ESPN get in bed with one another. There has been a mutual respect level, partnership, great partnership that's been there and everything. It makes everything that much more interesting now that WWE and ESPN have partnered up with each other. Because think about this for a second. We were just here a couple of nights ago talking about how WWE is now done with the media scrums. They're no longer going to be sitting down and going into some room and allowing, Tim from Big Guys Love Wrestling and Wings.com to ask silly ass stupid questions. That's no longer going to be happening. And now that you look at, this new deal that's been brokered and all of that, why should you continue to have these same organizations, what I'm saying? Why should you have them continue to show up for these post press conferences and all of that when you can just close that out? Not only tap into your talent that's already there, your panel that's already there, but you can do a damn crossover and bring in some ESPN analysts. So for you fans that have been wanting to see Stephen A. Smith maybe regularly somehow interact with the WWE superstars, and if the money is right, I'm sure Stephen A. Smith is going to be out there on some of those WWE panels, right? After a PLE or before a PLE, he's definitely going to be right there. I could even see Shaquille O'Neal Charles Barkley making a little bit of a cameo appearance as well. There's going to be some very interesting crossovers. Let me tell you, I could even see the Inside Crew doing crossovers with WWE talents as well. You know, almost similar to what AEW. Let's not forget, very similar to what AEW was doing a couple of times there when the Inside IP was still part of Warner Brothers Discovery and all that. Time to time, we used to see AEW stars pop up and everything. I would imagine that would be happening definitely a lot with WWE. So, some really great cross promotion opportunities is on the horizon. Now that we definitively know a little bit more about what's going on with this deal between ESPN and WWE, is there cause for panic? Is there a reason to be? I'm a little concerned here. I have trepidations. I don't think so because history has definitely shown time and time again that WWE, yeah, they're all about the bottom dollar. They're all about making their profit. But at the same time, they also know their audience. And if eventually they're trying to get to a point where, all right, eventually we want to get 15 or we want to get 20 or we want to get, make no mistake about it, they're eventually going to get that money. The only question is how long before they get that? Are they thinking in a 3-year time span they're ultimately going to command that money? Or is it going to be a case where maybe we can do this in about 4 years, or maybe we can do it in about, right? So to hear that the prices, although not officially released yet, what is crystal clear is what folks have been paying for Peacock to access WWE PLEs and everything. The prices are still going to be around that relative ballpark to free if you are connected to those respected joints that we mentioned earlier. Then you're pretty much in good hands. If you're in a situation where you don't have access right now to any of those options, once again, if you have if you don't have ESPN through Hulu Live, DirecTV, Charter, Fubo TV, Verizon Files, now's the time to try to see, okay, how can I make this happen? Because I really want to be able to. And look, I got to tell you something. It's definitely putting me in an interesting position, and I really hope that ESPN and YouTube, I really hope they're able to work something out because I'll tell you what, from what I've been seeing, I've been a YouTube TV subscriber now for whenever it launched. Whenever YouTube TV launched, that's when I had jumped on board and I've been loving it. I mean, the interface is so smooth, the navigation, the unlimited library for your DVR recordings. I love it. I love being able to take that YouTube TV with me on any of my devices, be it a phone or be it a tablet. I love being able to take it all with me on the go, even if it's a case where maybe I'm traveling to a different state, but I've got something, that's been recording or whatever. I love being able to go back, check my content out whenever. It's awesome. But to now be in this situation where now I may have to look at outside options just so I can continue to get my access to WWE. I think there's going to be a good little ding of us fans that it's gonna be some reshuffling. Definitely, it's going to be some reshuffling. Will I leave YouTube TV? I'm sure that's a question that a lot of people are asking themselves too. I'm going to try to do everything I can to keep my YouTube TV. I love it. It doesn't just affect me too. My family, they love YouTube TV. They love having that ability to hop on, and not to mention all under the same account. If one of us had recorded the news, for example, if there's some TV show or a movie, it's nice that a family member can just go in their room, put that bad boy on, all under the same account, or maybe we come in later and we're like, oh, we want to watch that too. And we can just go in our respected room or whatever, pull that up as well. It's not conflicting with what the other person is watching and all that. I mean, it's so convenient, but to now be in this position where, hey, at least until maybe something's brokered, you're going to have to look at something else. It sucks. For those of you that are not familiar with any of the platforms that I just mentioned, I can tell you from trial and error, and as recent as I would say spring of 2025, because I remember I had, just for shits and giggles, I had hopped online and I was curious what was going on with Hulu Live, with DirecTV, with Fubo TV. I was curious where their navigation, the ease of user friendliness. I was curious where all of that was in 2025. And for my personal taste, maybe some of you guys like it that's been messing with it for a while, but for my personal taste, Hulu Live, Direct TV, I think, what is it, Direct TV Go or Direct TV Stream? That pretty much was, Fubu TV, a little clunky for me. Verizon Files. Now, look, when I had Verizon Files, that shit was good. When I had Verizon Files, that shit was good. But see, where I live, and I don't know if a lot of you all had this issue if you were with Verizon Files, but for me in my respected area, anytime it would rain, I would have no signal. I mean, my internet would be affected, my TV would be affected. If there was a strong storm, or even if it snowed, hell, I could get strong winds. My shit was getting messed up. And it was very infuriating. Eventually, I just said, you know what, bump this. Let me just. And I've been fine ever since because I'm with Xfinity for my internet. I just do Xfinity for my internet, and for my TV, I do YouTube TV. So now I did do Xfinity, and obviously they didn't mention Xfinity being part of this. Again, ever changing, ever evolving. Maybe something will, right? And I keep stressing that because it ties so perfectly to Wild Women of Wrestling. Just to kind of mention them one more time. I remember when Wild Women of Wrestling made the announcement that they were going to have episodes available in syndication through CW affiliates. And for the longest time, my region, the DC metropolitan region, we did not get access to Wow Women of Wrestling. And it was very nerve wracking. And then finally, it took like several months, but finally, we had got Wow Women of Wrestling for our local CW affiliate. But here was the problem. Here was the problem. If it was a case where you were pushing YouTube TV, like I am, you didn't have access to it because YouTube TV and the CW, they hadn't brokered a deal. And I remember it took a long time for that deal to come in. As a matter of fact, it took about maybe over a year. And there was no announcement. No, it just happened to be a case where one day I'm just flipping through the channels. I'm looking at the TV guide and I happen to see, oh shit, I get the CW. Like, what is this about? And sure enough, it's like, oh no, it's not an on-demand CW. It's the real CW channel. And since then, I've had a shit ton of episodes available on demand for me to enjoy of Wild Women of Wrestling. So it was a part of the reason why I stopped covering Wild Women of Wrestling, because the way I would have to watch new episodes on the weekends, I would have to pay like $5 to, I think it was US TV Now, or USA TV Now. It's a legit site. It's really cool for trying to watch television abroad. Definitely comes in handy if you're maybe doing like the Jericho cruise or something like that, and you're trying to, right? So I would imagine that as we get closer, and definitely before the year is out, because there's a lot of things that's still being worked out behind the scenes. I mean, like 2 cents from a distance, ESPN and YouTube TV, they would essentially be fools to not try to broker some type of a deal. I think a deal will happen. Is just a matter of when it'll go down, right? It's just a matter of when it'll go down. So we got that going on. Let me read to you guys a couple of more comments. And then while I'm at it here, I just definitely want to refresh from the YouTube side, make sure we aren't missing anything, because I want to try to do my best to include everybody. Yeah, YouTube is up to date. I remember there was a couple of comments that had came in right before we went live where some people were saying, man, I am still confused about what the hell is going on here. And that is the main reason why we're doing this right now, so that it is a more definitive, here is what the hell is going on with this deal. So if you guys are just tuning in, crazy as day that it was, a lot of misinformation that was out there, myself, many others, we're going off of what TKO provided directly, and you had the legit websites, doing the same thing, just copying, pasting, and sharing what was going on there with the TKO news. Nobody on the TKO side thought it made sense to address, hey, for those of you that still, concerned about prices in 2025, and you're in North America and you're dealing with inflation, hey, don't worry. The switch that we're making to ESPN is good because da 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 da. But instead, all we saw was the $30 price tag. Not good, not good whatsoever. So if you guys are just now tuning in, we just recap definitively what all is going on here. We just quoted Mike Johnson, and again, shout out to the good people over there at Awful Announcing. I definitely want to give a shout out to I think it was Ben, Axe Lord, and Liam McGuire, who did a really, really good job breaking down the news on this and everything. So, Awful Announcing, they noted the following: according to a source with knowledge of the deal, in addition to ESPN Unlimited, ESPN DTC, which means direct to consumers, unlimited subscribers, customers who subscribe to ESPN via DirecTV, Hulu Live, Charter, Fubo TV, and Verizon Files will have access to the WWE PLEs via the streaming service. That, however, leaves at least two notable exceptions, with the source confirming that YouTube TV and Xfinity subscribers won't have access to WWE PLEs via the authentication process at this time. Meanwhile, WWE President Nick Khan confirmed to Puck's John Orand that the PLEs will be available on the WWE streaming service at no additional pay-per-view costs. So if you're a YouTube TV customer or don't subscribe to ESPN via one of the aforementioned services, which is certainly possible in the cord cutting era, then yes, you'll need to pay the $30 per month to access the streaming service and WWE PLEs. But considering that pro wrestling fans have traditionally been some of cable's most consistent subscribers, it seems plausible that the vast majority of viewers will now be able to drop their Peacock subscriptions, if they choose to, in favor of a streaming service they may already have access to. So again, you can understand why there was a lot of confusion that was going on earlier here. as a good, I would suspect that a good size of the fans that probably were upset about this might have been a case where they were, YouTube TV or Xfinity subscribers and all of that, right? So a little bit of a silver lining of good news there when it's all said and done. So we got that. Hopefully this helped now that we essentially have cleaned that up. And once again, just to reiterate, for you guys that are concerned about the WWE current library on Peacock and NXT shows and all that, again, in case you missed it, that is a separate deal. That is not part of the ESPN deal. That is currently being shopped around. Okay. So I would imagine that maybe before the year is up, we'll know a little bit more about, what's going on with that. And then don't forget, for those of you that's like, okay, so what does this mean for SmackDown? SmackDown, they still got a couple of years left on the USA Network. So keep that in mind as well. They got a couple of years left, but with everything that's happening right now, woof. If you were to tell me that eventually SmackDown could possibly be going to ESPN too, I mean legit, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. All right, but let's go ahead and stick a fork in it. Call this DONE done. So at this point, not really too much else is going on news-wise. This pretty much has been the main meat and potatoes. I think anything else that transpires, of course, anything additional that happens with this whole talk of WWE and ESPN. At this point, we'll definitely do a show for you guys this weekend because we do plan on doing a new episode of Wrestling with the Topics, me and Tams. And I'm looking forward to picking her brain on this new ESPN deal because she's definitely been wanting me to chat her up about it and all that. If you guys are new, welcome. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit the like so you always know about more content that's coming your way. And definitely give me your reactions now that you guys know definitively clearer now what's going on. Does it ease your concerns a bit more, or are you still kind of, I don't really know, Lee? Definitely sound off. Let me know. We'll keep the discussion going. But until next go round, wishing all of y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. I'll see you guys next go round. Take care.